One of the things I was interested in knowing is you talk about mindful movement and positional presence.
Oh,
Explain the meaning of that.
ooh, mindful move is not a word I use.
It's not.
No. The mindful movement, I don't think is specific enough for what I teach. So to understand positional presence, you have to first understand joint centration. Now, joint centration, I believe that was the original definition was created by the Prague School of Rehabilitation in, I think, the 70s. They are an awesome group out of Prague, Czechoslovakia. And they also, I believe, are some of the creators or co-creators of, if you've heard of DNS before, Voita, almost these like neurological development, like connecting the neurological system and movement, almost like returning people back to developmental movement patterns, crawling, laying, like these different. I've actually never taken any of their shit, just so I want to be clear with this thing. I've read some of their books, but the word joint centration stuck with me over 20 years. I heard it once in 2006.
What's it called? Joint
Centration.
centration.
It's the ideal alignment of the joints of the body. It's a position in which the two joint surfaces are in maximal contact with each other, creating equal distribution of forces. With that joint centration creates a balance of musculature contraction 360 degrees around the joint. And that also creates ligament and tendon equilibrium. It's the holy grail position for that joint. Now, joint centration is a dynamic movement as well, meaning there is an ideal centrated position for every joint in the body at any given moment. Even if I'm falling off that 5-story building right there, heading to the ground, there is an ideal centrated position of my wrist, my elbow, my arm for me to best absorb that shock. Now, sometimes the force of gravity overcomes the ability of my body to absorb that, fractures, die, but there's an ideal centrated position of every joint in the body at any given moment of time. So now when you take, that's one joint in the body. And now when you combine multiple joints, so then positional presence is the state of awareness to the alignment of the joint in the body. Now, the gross overview, people might use the word, they'll often use the word proprioception. You've heard that. It's just like proprioception is like kind of knowing your body where it is in space. But joint centration is, positional presence is the knowledge and awareness of the alignment of your joints throughout space at any given moment of time. And so I ultimately believe, in my deepest part of me, this is my experience, and briefly, I've taught at colleges, kinesiology. I've had about maybe 100,000 paid members in our program, seen some succeed, some fail. Maybe 20,000 patients in person, seen some succeed, some fail. And the research that I read, the books that I read, I literally, on my morning crap every day, I completed a whole textbook in 6 months. So I'm like, I got my morning read and I got my evening. My evening read is like Anunnaki, extraterrestrials. My morning read is always like research papers. So it's like, now if you combine all that, in my belief, we take the word pain, and pain is very mental, right? It's actually because you have people that are out of alignment. Why do they have no pain? Why do people that have better alignment have pain? So there is pain is ultimately determined by the mind. However, there are statistical correlations of the alignment and different misalignments. There's misalignments that contribute. For example, hip impingement. And I'm answering your question. Hip impingement. The most common one out there here is disc herniation. That's a little more simple. So with the disc in the back, the centrated position of the two, let's just take L5 and S1, the two most common areas herniated, about 95% of the time, I believe, L5 and S1. And so what happens is there is a natural alignment of those joints. And I say the joints, you're talking about just the two little facet joints on the back. There's an ideal facet orientation. Now, those facet joints itself, there's an ideal centrated position for those. And when those facet joints become overly flexed, or you can say rounded for those people out there, and they stay in that rounded position. So so the back would appear, and then there's a cascade effect. It goes L4, L3, the body responds, it usually compromises the whole thoracic, the whole lumbar spine. So now the lumbar spine's in a flattened position. So we can say that joint is overly flexed. That causes chronic compression upon the disc. And some people, based on disc shape, based on anatomy, based on load, repetitions, time, those discs are now more likely to herniate. So my point is that is a decentrated joint, and that exists in that person's life. It often is like an almond in a piece of chocolate. It's frozen in there. They're frozen in that decentrated position. So what I do is help people realign their blood, help them find realignment, help them find joint centration. And whenever they find joint centration, if they're aware of the muscle, the contraction, what it feels like, what it looks like in a mirror, and they could see themselves, and they're aware of that when they squat, they're aware of that when they lunge, they're aware of that when they have sex, low level awareness. I'm talking awareness where you still, like right now, I'm talking with you and I'm aware of every joint in my body, some less than others, because I got weak spots too. I'm aware of all my toes gripping. I got external rotation of my thighs. I got my knees in alignment. I got external rotation of my hips. I got my natural lordosis maintained. My scaps are scooped into position. I'm trying to keep a low activation in my thoracic. I got decent chin retraction. I know my head's shifted to the right. I'll shift it back to the left a little bit, but I'm still having this conversation with you, but I'm aware of that. And that is called positional presence. And to answer your question now is that what the world needs, chronic people in chronic pain, they think they need strength. Most people think they need strength. And second, they think they need mobility. They need fucking awareness. They need awareness of the alignment of the joints of their body. I call that positional presence. And the only way to gain that awareness is through activation exercises. You can't strengthen something you're not aware of. Activation, and then strength, and then mobility. So all of these with the intention of realignment. Whenever that body is realigned, you can be, I have positional presence now, know that I am out of alignment, but I know that I am, and I know how to return it back. So that state of awareness is what I truly believe.
So that's the first part is having, like, whatever you call it, is being mindful awareness of where you are. Is that kind of where you start with things then, generally, is getting people to just have that awareness first? Right. Okay.
Well, you got to break through awareness. There's often fear.
Okay.
People don't often go to awareness because people have preconceived notions of what they need. They think they need strength. They think they need mobility. They think then they're afraid of the pain. They're fearful of moving their body. So there's things to break through before we get to awareness. I often don't even really talk about awareness. I'm just teaching them through movements. Right. They get that.
So the idea behind it is generally that you're aiming to get someone to the stage of awareness and consciousness about what they're doing.
Exactly. Right? The alignment of their body.
Okay.
That's the goal. I see training, and this is where I see PTs fail, chiros fail, personal trainers fail, is that they often view that 1 hour workout, either the training or the rehab, like do your hour and then you're good for the day. No, the reason we're doing that hour is we're training for our life. That is only our warm up and our training for our life. That's the way we sit, the way we have sex, when we go and play tennis, when we mountain bike. So those exercises must be done with a much, much greater level of awareness. It's not about the sets. It's not about the reps, though those are important. It's much more important to focus on the quality of the movement, the muscle contraction, the alignment of your body throughout those, so that whenever you stand up and continue your life, you now are present of that alignment, because it's carrying the misalignments with you throughout life. That's what's causing the problems. You're carrying this flexed spine position as you stand, as you have sex, as you sit, as you're bending the wheelbarrow, as you're getting the groceries. Like, you're doing that. That's causing the cumulative trauma.
So is part of that caused by just this unconscious, like, because one of the questions I was going to ask is that, you think of children. Obviously, a lot of these dysfunctions come from when you're younger, depending on what that is, but you have stuff, and then gradually over time it changes. So is the idea of as you are younger and grow up, if you have that constant body awareness, then when things start to change, you're conscious of it, as opposed to not being aware of any of this stuff.
Yes.
And then through life, it starts to twist and turn, and then you're in this kind of place you didn't know how you got.
Or people hit with pain, they go, the pain just started. And I look at them like, I can't believe your pain just started. You've been fucked up for 20 years. This shit didn't start yesterday when you picked up a pencil off the ground. The pencil didn't hurt you. You popped out of the vagina, you came out with a suction, someone pulled you out of the suction cup, that started it. You sat in school for 12 years in just constant unaware position of just chronically tight hip flexor. You stand up, it flips your hips and anterior tilt. You're not aware of that. You played football, wailed your head a few times, made you cockeyed, turned your head sideways. You sprained your ankle, your weight shift on your right side. You never even bother to put it back on the left. It's not like it goes back. Like you just accumulate these things over time. These body misalignments accumulate. You can say thoughts, traumas, and toxins is a super common way to say it. Yeah, whatever, you're a cashier, you're turning to the right, you're a blackjack dealer, you're going left all the freaking time. Your body develops. That's why you give people, I give people reps. I go, okay, we're gonna do this to the right side. They go, I gotta balance that out on the left. I'm like, you ain't balanced now. There's no 50-50. You're not at 50-50. You need 90 over here and 10 over here for 2 years. Then go 50-50. You're not balanced. Who do you think you are?